So I saw in a meme that the Muppet Christmas Carol had found the lost footage of the Love Is Gone music sequence and had put it up on Disney Plus. So we went to watch it on Disney Plus and it skipped the song. And we had to do the traditional thing where you pause the movie and go to YouTube and watch the song and then come back to the movie. And I complained about this on Facebook and someone said, well, you have to go into the something special features, whatever. And I'm like, Disney,
just put it back in the movie.
Just put it back in the movie. Like there's no, the movie doesn't work without it. It
does not.
It's, yeah. I don't even care much for the song in and of itself, but it is super pivotal to the story. And in the like, not that anyone was arguing with me, but I was like, Jason, look, when the song's in there, he walks away first. Like she keeps walking away from him and then stopping. And then he eventually just turns and leaves. And then she leaves. And he's like, yes.
Which is a very key and important difference in character moment. And
oh my God. Yeah.
My God. Yes. There.
So Abby has gone from not being able to sit through a movie to being a movie hound because one of the things they do in brick and mortar schools when they're like done with assignments and the curriculum is they just sit and watch movies in their classes. And now he loves them and he's catching up because they can't watch a whole movie in each class. So today he watched Rise of the Guardians and Kung Fu Panda 2.
Excellent. I did a movie night with my coworkers yesterday and we watched Bad Moms Christmas, which, believe it or not, actually quite good.
Okay.
Very silly, but it has Christine Baranski, Susan Sarandon, Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, Kathryn Hahn.
All right, that's a win. That sounds awesome.
And it's a sequel to Bad Moms, which I haven't seen, but like it was, as Christmas movies go, it was quite enjoyable. I was like, wow, there was only one scene where I had to like navigate away and not watch because the secondhand embarrassment was too much.
Yeah, the cringe is strong, I'm sure.
Only once.
Only once. We've watched our Wish for Wings That Work and Peanuts Special and of course Muppet Christmas Carol. I haven't watched Scrooged yet. I need some Scrooged in my world.
Next week we should watch Muppet Christmas Carol again. I'm just putting that out there.
That's fine. I have no objection to this. We could do commentary and film it.
We could, but I just want to watch it and I haven't yet because I don't have Disney Plus.
So none of the movie versions do right by the sister, and that kind of makes me sad. I mean, I guess it's another reason to go back to the book. But there's a throwaway line in the book when he's with the ghost of Christmas Present and his niece by marriage sings a little song. It's an absolutely nothing. You could learn it in 2 minutes, but it was a song that had been precious to the sister, to the girl that fetched him from the school. And I'm like, if I were making the movie, I would have her singing it as she's running towards him and then put the niece playing it back in because that's a thing. That's oh well. There never was a short book made such a fuss over, but it deserves it. Speaking of long books that are made a fuss over.
Indeed. And speaking of things to work on, I have to make this H look like an H. We'll see how that goes.
Yes. Yeah, it can't be Kiki Dick Waffle, can it?
It cannot. And that was the problem with the first one. And I think I fixed it, but I have to finish the H, and then I can do the C, and then I'll be like a third of the way there, and I'll only have to panic a little bit about not getting it done in time. But my annual reviews are done, so that gives me way, way, way more energy because that's been the last 2 weeks of my life was doing
Oh.
12 annual reviews.
Oh Lord, where the hell are we?
We are Sam just walked past the Watchers.
Holy crap. No, that's Mount Doom. No, not Mount Doom. The Land of Shadow, the Tower of Kirithungol. Welcome right up to the Tower of Kirithungol. Such an ugly place.
Such an ugly place.
Such an ugly place. Blood is on the ceiling.
Torture your butt in the Tower of Kirithungol. Okay, how do I do this?
All right, he's in Mordor. There's defeated run into. The evil heads came a high shrill cry. Did that happen?
Yes, they gave a high shrill cry. We talked about the Sauron sculpture hobby, and then that's where we were, roughly.
That's done it, said Sam. Now I've rung the front doorbell. Well, come on, somebody, he cried. Tell Captain Shagrat that the great elf warrior is called, with his elf sword, too. There was no answer. Sam strode forward. Yeah.
Awkward.
Oh, but also so fucking terrifying.
Indeed, that too.
Sam strode forward. Steam glittered blue in his hand. The courtyard lay in deep shadow. So, is it the orcs at the top of the tower that are causing it to glow, or does it glow in the presence of dead orcs? Like if they're still warm?
Well, that would imply that it's like basically a moon ring. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, no, I need one more stitch here.
The courtyard lay in deep shadow, but he could see that the pavement was strewn with bodies. Right at his feet were 2 orc archers with knives sticking in their backs. Beyond lay many more shapes, some singly as they had been hewn down or shot, others in pairs, still grappling one another, dead in the very throes of stabbing, throttling, biting. He died doing what he loved.
Stabbing, throttling, and biting.
The stones were slippery with dark blood. This is how you get PTSD, man. Shit.
I mean, yes, that is true.
2 liveries, Sam noticed, one marked by the red eye, the other by a moon disfigured with a ghastly face of death. But he did not stop to look more closely. Across the court, a great door at the foot of the tower stood half open, and a red light came through. A large orc lay dead upon the threshold. Sam sprang over the body and went in, and then he peered about at a loss. A wide and echoing passage led back from the door towards the mountainside. It was dimly lit with torches flaring in brackets on the walls, but its distant end was lost in gloom. Many doors and openings could be seen on this side and that, but it was empty, save for 2 or 3 more bodies sprawling on the floor.
You know, just 2 or 3. Just a few.
I mean, who's counting at this point?
Also, going back to the livery of the moon with the like deathly face on it, can we talk about how metal that is? Like, that sounds like something I would get tattooed on me.
Right? I take it. I think that's awesome. I like to picture the the factories where the uniforms are made.
That, yes, but
is it sewed on? Do you think it's embroidery, or do you think it's silk screened or spray painted?
I'm gonna go with spray painted only because I'm trying to picture orcs sitting down to embroider a crest on a livery.
No, what they do is they enslave other races and then bring them in. Yeah, because it's
that's true.
There's like 40 different times when he uses the word slaves in Mordor
Mm-hmm.
because only a Dark Lord would think slavery was okay.
Well,
In,
yeah.
I think I said this. Snaga means slave,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bunch of them named Snaga.
Which,
But yeah,
yikes.
I totally want some Minas Morgul livery. It's so fucking cool. I bet it glows in the dark.
I feel like it's more Minas Morgul Dark Lord E to just like slap a stencil on there and swoosh some paint across it and yank it back off. So they're kind of like kind
Yeah,
of shoddy, but also menacing. And also it's like a moon with the craters making a skull, and that's just cool as hell.
yeah. Yeah, I dig. I dig. I picture it. It's awesome. This does imply that they have invented aerosol, but I mean,
Well, I was thinking more like just like a paintbrush just whoosh over the stencil.
all right, I could see that. I was gonna say they have gunpowder, so why not?
I
But
don't know if gunpowder and aerosol are similar technologies.
they
I
both
guess
go
they have
boom.
similar
They
effects.
both expand really quickly.
But have they invented moose? That's the question.
Oh yeah, have you seen Shagrat's hair?
He I'm pretty sure he does that with like tallow.
The blood of his enemies.
Ugh. I read this really dumb book one time where one of the characters supposedly would like every time he killed something, he would smear its blood in his hair, so he just had like bloody dreadlocks covered in flies. And I was like, that's gross and impractical.
Yeah, no.
Like, no,
No.
no.
I can think of much better ways to mark each kill. Actually, Killmonger is a good one. I like the tally marks all over his torso. That worked.
That makes that makes way more sense.
Yeah. Do 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 do. Two or three more bodies, right?
Two or three more bodies, yes.
Sprawling on the floor. From what he had heard of the captain's talk, Sam knew that, dead or alive, Frodo would most likely be found in a chamber high up in the turret, far above. But he might search for a day before he found the way. It'll be near the back, I guess, Sam muttered. The whole tower climbs backwards like. And anyway, I'd better follow these lights. That is what we call, what is it, parking lot science?
Parking lot science?
Yeah, you've heard the phrase?
Mm-mm.
It has to do with only
Sounded
studying only studying what is visible in the pools of light cast by the um, lights.
sure. Sure.
Because since you don't have any means of studying what is outside of the pools of light, you just only study what's in the pools of light, but then you tend to draw incomplete conclusion or draw conclusions from incomplete data that way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But
I was
anyway,
thinking about literal parking lots and I was very confused.
I I think it comes from an anecdote about someone looking for their keys because they dropped them in a parking lot and only looking for them where
Where
the
there was
pools of light were. Yeah.
that does make sense, yes.
And anyway, I'd better follow these lights. He advanced down the passage, but slowly now, each step more reluctant. Terror was beginning to grip him again. Let me just point out, for as a matter of reminder, that the stones are wet with blood and he's barefoot.
Ew, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ugh, that must be so. Because, like, when blood starts to dry, it gets sticky. So his feet are just like. It's like when you have shorts on and you stand up from like a leather seat,
Yeah.
just sticking to the floor.
Only
Ew.
so much worse.
So much worse.
So much worse.
Terrible. Ugh, he's making
Yeah.
terrible sounds. It's
Yeah.
awful.
And the sensation, you put your foot down on the
Hmm.
floor and it kind of slips or sticks, and you're like, oh, haha, yeah.
My feet are cringing.
Terror was beginning to grip him again. There was no sound save the rap of his feet,
Ugh.
which
Ugh.
which seemed to grow to an echoing noise like the slapping of great hands upon the stones.
It's a good thing we don't have any viewers because we would have lost them all just now.
The dead bodies, the emptiness, the dank black walls that in the torchlight seemed to drip with blood, the fear of sudden death lurking in doorway or shadow, and behind all his mind the waiting, watchful malice at the gate. It was almost more than he could screw himself to face. Glad that word has not changed its meaning in the intervening decades.
Yeah, no, screw yourself definitely means exactly the same thing.
Yeah. So when someone says go screw yourself, they mean get yourself together to have the courage to face what's ahead of you. So really,
Really, it's a very kind thing to say when you think about it.
right? Like, thank you, I will. I do have stuff that I need to screw myself for.
Well, I know how I'm responding the next time someone says that.
Yes, excuse me, sorry. It was he would have welcomed a fight with not too many enemies at a time, rather than this hideous, brooding uncertainty. He forced himself to think of Frodo lying bound or in pain or dead somewhere in this dreadful place. He went on. He had passed beyond the torchlight, almost to a great arched door at the end of the passage, the inner side of the undergate, as he rightly guessed, when there came from high above a dreadful, choking shriek. He stopped short. Then he heard feet coming. Someone was running in great haste down an echoing stairway overhead. His will was too weak and slow to restrain his hand. It dragged at the chain and clutched the ring, but Sam did not put it on, for even as he clasped it to his breast, an orc came clattering down. Leaping out of the dark opening at the right, it ran towards him. It was no more than 6 paces from him when, lifting its head, it saw him, and Sam could hear its gasping breath and see the glare in its bloodshot eyes. It stopped short, aghast, for what it saw was not a small, frightened hobbit trying to hold a steady sword. It saw a great, silent shape cloaked in a grey shadow looming against the wavering light behind. In one hand it held a sword, the very light of which was a bitter pain. The other was clutched at its breast, but held concealed some nameless menace of power and doom. Doom!
Doom, doom, doom. Also, this is how I always want to be perceived when I walk in a room, and it is a constant sadness unto me that I am never perceived as a great shapeless menace cloaked in shadow.
I
Someday.
know. Well, you need to carry a sword, the light of which is a bitter pain, and then maybe the rest of it will come together.
Look, everything about me is a bitter pain, okay?
For a moment the orc crouched, and then with a hideous yelp of fear it turned and fled back as it had come. Never was any dog more heartened when its enemy turned tail than Sam at this unexpected flight. With a shout he gave chase. "Yes, the elf warrior is loose!" he cried. "I'm coming! Just you show me the way up or I'll skin you!" But the orc was in its own haunts, nimble and well fed. Sam was a stranger, hungry and weary. The stairs were high and steep and winding. Sam's breath began to come in gasps. There are so much stairs. I don't know if you've ever climbed more stairs than you were ready to climb, but they
Always.
he's really underselling how much of a pain in the ass this entire adventure has been since about the crossroads.
Then again, they are getting such a thigh workout. Like,
Their calves are going to be gorgeous. It's going to be like triplets of Belleville calves.
it will be a lot like that because the rest of them is completely starved and gaunt. So it really is just that very thin silhouette and then giant calves.
Oh, coconuts.
Oh, goodness. Okay, where am I? Here.
The orc had soon passed out of sight, and now only faintly could be heard the slapping of its feet as it went on and up. Every now and again it gave a yell, and the echo ran along the walls. But slowly all sound of it died away. Sam plodded on. He felt that he was on the right road, and his spirits had risen a good deal. He thrust the ring away and tightened his belt. Well, well, he said, if only they all take such a dislike to me and my sting, this may turn out better than I hoped. And anyway, it looks as if Shagrat Gorbag and company have done nearly all my job for me. Except for that little frightened rat, I do believe there's nobody left alive in the place. And with that he stopped, brought up hard as if he had hit his head against the stone wall. The full meaning of what he had said struck him like a blow. Nobody left alive? Whose had been that horrible dying shriek? Frodo, Frodo, master, he cried, half sobbing. If they've killed you, what shall I do? Well, I'm coming at last, right to the top, to see what I must. Up he went. It was dark, save for an occasional torch flaring at a turn, or beside some opening that led into the higher levels of the tower. Sam tried to count the steps, but after 200 he lost his reckoning. He was moving quietly now, for he thought that he could hear the sound of voices talking still some way above. More than one rat remained alive, it seemed. All at once, when he felt that he could pump out no more breath, nor force his knees to bend again, the stair ended. He stood still. The voices were now loud and near. Now loud and near. Thank you, Donald.
Oh, Donald.
Sam peered about. He had climbed right to the flat roof of the third and highest tier of the tower, an open space about 20 yards across with a low parapet. There the stair was covered by a small domed chamber in the midst of the roof, with low doors facing east and west. Eastward Sam could see the plain of Mordor vast and dark below, and the burning mountain far away. A fresh turmoil was surging in its deep wells, and the rivers of fire blazed so fiercely that even at this distance of many miles, the light of them lit the tower top with a red glare. Westward, the view was blocked by the base of the great turret that stood at the back of this upper court and reared its horn high above the crest of the encircling hills. Light gleamed in a window slit. Its door was not 10 yards from where Sam stood. It was open, but dark, and from just within its shadow the voices came. At first Sam did not listen. He took a pace out of the eastward door and looked about. At once he saw that up here the fighting had been fiercest. All the court was choked with dead orcs, or their severed and scattered heads and limbs. Ew. The place stank of death. A snarl, followed by a blow and a cry, sent him darting back into hiding. An orc voice rose in anger, and he knew it again at once. Harsh, brutal, cold. It was Shagrat speaking, captain of the tower. You won't go again, you say? Curse you, Snagga, you little maggot! If you think I'm so damaged that it's safe to flout me, you're mistaken. Come here, and I'll squeeze your eyes out like I did to Radbug just now. Might have been a mercy. His name was Radbug.
But also, Squeeze your eyes out? What part of what part of them is he squeezing to squeeze their eyes out?
I think he's putting the eyes out, like
I suppose. I was thinking like those dog toys or whatever where you squeeze them around the middle and the eyes pop out. I was like, I think that's how actual anatomy works, but okay.
Nope. Do. And when some new lads come, I'll deal with you. I'll send you to Shelob. They won't come, not before you're dead anyway, answered Snaga surlily. I've told you twice that Gorbag's swine got to the gate first and none of ours got out. Lagduff and Musgosh got through, but they were shot. I saw it from a window, I tell you. And they were the last. Then you must go. I must stay here anyway. But I'm hurt. The Black Pits, take that filthy rebel Gorbag. Shagrat's voice trailed off into a string of foul names and curses. I gave him better than I got, but he knifed me, the dung, before I throttled him. You must go, or I'll eat you. News must get through to Lunkbars, or we'll both be for the Black Pits. Yes, you too. You won't escape by skulking here. I'm not going down those stairs again, growled Snaga. Be you captain or no? Nah, keep your hands off your knife, or I'll put an arrow in your guts. You won't be a captain long when they hear about all these goings on. I fought for the tower against those stinking Morgul rats, but a nice mess you two precious captains have made of things, fighting over the swag. That's enough from you, snarled Shagrat. I had my orders. It was Gorbag started it, trying to pinch that pretty shirt. Nailed it, Sam. Well done.
Well played. I'm like, this damn thing is like one stitch too far over. And it's gonna bother me if I don't move it. But like, cause like, look. Do you see what's bothering me?
Yeah, maybe. Is it the Y that you're thinking is too far over?
No, it's the C.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that I agree in that
Yes.
case.
All right. I'm ripping it back. This is the third time. Because
Well,
the H was the thing that I had to change. So I've been messing with it for a while.
It's being cheeky.
Ha! If Jason doesn't get this in time, I'm telling him it was the C's fault.
Yes, blame it on the
I blame the C.
Throw it in the sea. Well, you put his back up being so high and mighty, and he had more sense than you anyway. He told you more than once that the most dangerous of these spies was still loose, and you wouldn't listen. You won't listen now. Gorbag was right, I tell you. There's a great fighter about, one of those bloody-handed elves, or one of the filthy Tarks. Yeah.
Filthy what?
Tark. It's their word for the Dunedain.
Oh, okay.
Or men, at least. He's coming here, I tell you. You heard the bell. He's got past the watchers, and that's Tark's work. He's on the stairs, and until he's off them, I'm not going down. Not if you were a Nazgul, I wouldn't. So that's it, is it? Yelled Shagrat. You'll do this, and you'll not do that. And when he does come, you'll bolt and leave me? No, you won't. I'll put red maggot holes in your belly first. Out of the turret door, the smaller orc came flying. Behind him came Shagrat, a large orc with long arms that, as he ran crouching, reached to the ground. But one arm hung limp and seemed to be bleeding. The other hugged a large black bundle. In the red glare, Sam, cowering behind the stair door, caught a glimpse of his evil face as it passed. It was scored as if by rending claws and smeared with blood. Slaver dripped from its protruding fangs. The mouth snarled like an animal.
So he
That
wasn't super hot, is what you're saying.
I'm saying that a prosthetics team would adore the way he writes. It's like, oh, not even just scary or ugly, but actual like rending claws, slaver, fangs, like, got it, boss.
Yep. Long arms that reach to the floor in an
Yeah.
unsettling fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
He writes as if for illustrators every time. I really, really like that. As far as Sam could see, Shagrat hunted Snaga around the roof until, ducking and eluding him, the smaller orc with a yelp darted back into the turret and disappeared. Then Shagrat halted. Out of the eastward door, Sam could see him now by the parapet, panting, his left claw clenching and unclenching feebly. He put the bundle on the floor and with his right claw drew out a long red knife and spat on it. Going to the parapet, he leaned over, looking down into the outer court far below. Twice he shouted, but no answer came. Now, I know that as far as we're concerned, he spat on his knife because that's disgusting and barbaric and very visceral. But I'm kind of wondering what he thought his reason was.
I would assume that he had so because if he already stabbed some people with his knife, which it sounds like he did, it's probably covered in blood and stuff. So I would imagine he's spitting on it and wiping it off just to like clean it,
Right?
get it ready to stab some more people.
There you go. I like that. I was thinking, what if when he was a wee nipper of an orc, he was trained by his mama to spit on your knife for good luck when you're when you're feeling down.
Either that or he spits on it in case when he stabs someone, if they don't die, his gross saliva will give them an infection and then they'll die eventually anyway.
Or to lubricate it so it goes in better.
I feel like it's not that one. I don't think orcs are big users of lube in general.
Anyway, suddenly, as Shagrat was stooped over the battlement, his back to the rooftop, Sam, to his amazement, saw that one of the sprawling bodies was moving. It was crawling. It put out a claw and clutched the bundle. It staggered up. In its other hand, it held a broad-headed spear with a short, broken haft. It was poised for a stabbing thrust. But at that very moment, a hiss escaped its teeth, a gasp of pain or hate. Quick as a snake, Shagrat slipped aside, twisted round, and drove his knife into his enemy's throat. "Got you, Gorbag!" he cried. "Not quite dead, eh? Well, I'll finish my job now." He sprang onto the fallen body and stamped and trampled it in his fury, stooping now and again to stab and slash with his knife. Satisfied at last, he threw back his head and let out a horrible, gurgling yell of triumph. Then he licked his knife.
Yeah, that's pretty horrible.
And then he licked his knife and put it between his teeth, and catching up the bundle, he came loping toward the near door of the stairs. Sam had no time to think. He might have slipped out of the other door, but hardly without being seen, and he could not have played hide and seek with this hideous orc for long. He did what was probably the best thing he could have done. He sprang out to meet Shagrat with a shout. He was no longer holding the ring, but it was there, a hidden power, a cowing menace to the slaves of Mordor, and in his hand was Sting, and its light smote the eyes of the orc like the glitter of cruel stars in the terrible elf countries, the dream of which was a cold fear to all his kind. And Shagrat could not both fight and keep hold of his treasure. He stopped, growling, baring his fangs. Then, once more, orc fashion, he leaped aside, and as Sam sprang at him, using the heavy bundle as both shield and weapon, he thrust it hard into his enemy's face. Sam staggered, and before he could recover, Shagrat darted past and down the stairs. Sam ran after him, cursing, but he did not go far. Soon the thought of Frodo returned to him, and he remembered that the other orc had gone back into the turret. Here was another dreadful choice, and he had no time to ponder it. If Shagrat got away, he would soon get help and come back. But if Sam pursued him, the other orc might do some horrible deed up there. And anyway, Sam might miss Shagrat or be killed by him. He turned quickly and ran back up the stairs. Wrong again, I expect, he sighed. But it's my job to go right up to the top first, whatever happens afterward. He's going to sing a song, and that's going to happen on your watch.
Which is a shame because I named this episode The Power of Song because I thought we were going to get there tonight. But
we are so close, but there was a lot to discuss. Mainly,
all right,
Yeah.
I need your opinion on the placement of the scene.
Dear God, how are you that fast?
It's not a lot of stitches. It looks like more than it is. Okay, but is it too far the other way now?
No, it balances out the Y really well.
Okay. Thank God, because I did not want to take it out again. Also, the other reason I'm that fast is because I have one hand on either side, so I'm just like passing it back and forth.
Yeah, it's hard to know what we will get to in each episode, but I mean, if we ever go back and like trim out all the non-Tolkien crap and streamline it, you could put in new titles then.
That's true. Someday I would like to do that. Not all the non-Tolkien crap, but just like trim it a bit and write good summaries and make it, a thing that's easier to navigate than just, hello, two people are bullshitting.
I mean, there's a lot of podcasts that are that, but yeah, I think if we ever were to have an audience, it would be people who wanted to hear Tolkien discussed, not our shoe size.
I don't think we've ever discussed our shoe size, so they're in luck.
My feet are tiny. I mean,
my feet are tinier than yours.
What?
My feet are tinier than yours, but I'm not putting them on the internet for free.
Yours are narrower and are short and wide.
I think my feet are also shorter than yours, aren't they?
Maybe. Your hands are longer than mine, though.
Yeah. Well, my hands are weirdly proportioned.
I've got little hobbit hands.
I've got weird monster hands. It's partly the joint thing, because like my thumb just always looks like it's sort of at the wrong angle.
Yeah. I have read that if your fingers are shorter than your palm, you have a very generous nature. So at least I've got that going for me.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not podcasting next week because you'll be here eating chicken Kiev and celebrating Christmas and solstice.
Indeed. That is a thing that will be happening, which means I've really got to get a move on this cross stitch because I'm only at the word cheeky.
Dick Waffle will just fly by.
I mean, doesn't it always? And I am going for a simpler border this time.
Okay.
Because last time when I took back to put a border on it, I picked way too complicated of a border. And then
yeah, I understand that one. Yeah, don't forget to take pictures of your animals so I know which ones to make.
I will do that thing. Also, the H is much better now, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It looks exactly right.
I'm so pleased. All right. I'll talk to you later. I love you.
Cuidado.
Me amas.
I love you.
Love you too.